Hello everyone, so I'm Julia, the Polestar licensee for the UK, and I'm just going to go through the logbook and in detail and looking at how is the best way to fill your logbook out. So we're starting off with the section 1, which is the pre-curriculum hours. Now you need to have done 25 hours of Pilates before you join the course. Now this can have been done anywhere, it doesn't need to be done in Polestar. And if you're a career changer, you may have attended our gateway course, that will automatically give you 16 hours. So you just write down there where you have done your 25 hours of Pilates, and you can just, where it says signature of instructor, you can actually sign that, that's absolutely fine. The other thing we recommend, if you're coming from if you haven't worked with the equipment and you're doing the comprehensive course, is that you do some of those hours working with the equipment so you're familiar with it before you start on the course. Then we have the anatomy study. Now we have an expectation that you have a reasonable understanding of anatomy before you come on the course. Many of you would have had that from previous jobs that you've had, maybe from a degree or A-level biology, or if you need help, we have various suggestions that we can offer you to help with that anatomy. So however you've done that, you write that and note that at the bottom of your log page there. Then we come on to the didactic education. Now these are the modules that you're attending. So again, you just jot down there when you come on the modules, the date that you come and who your educator was. Again, the educator doesn't necessarily need to sign that, you can sign that, yourself, that's absolutely fine. That's just basically just a note of the dates when you did your individual modules. So next we come, and this is more for the comprehensive students, the homework and both the assignments and the case studies. Now your educator will talk to you as you're going through the course about what assignments and homework are due, and if you send them to the educator, they will mark them and sign your logbook accordingly. Now it's important, we suggest that you do the assignments and case studies as you're going through the course. Each assignment relates to the module that's coming up, so really good idea to actually do that before the module itself so that it prepares you for that. The educators will mark your assignments free of charge, providing you complete them within 1 month of the end of the course. Those of you that leave that later than that, we will be charging you £15 late charge for those assignments and homework to be marked. So next we get to the actual workbook, and we're looking at the observation hours first. Now these observation hours, ideally they are going to be you observing a Polestar teacher with their clients. For the comprehensive students, that will be more in a one-to-one setting. For maths students, this is going to be watching a Polestar teacher take a class. We appreciate that it's not always possible to actually sit and observe a math class, in which case actually taking part in the math class, you can actually put that down in your logbook as an observation hour. Other ways of getting your hours are to have a look at Pilates Anytime. This is a very good online resource that has a number of Polestar educators that you can watch, and again you can put that down in your logbook either as an observation or as a self-practice hour. Again, we don't recommend that you do more than 50% of your hours for observation on Pilates Anytime, and you do need to choose a Polestar educator. We do also understand that some people don't have access to Polestar teachers, and I'm often asked, is it okay to do my observation with somebody else? Well, fine for some of it, but for obvious reasons, really not a good idea to do a huge amount with somebody who's non-Polestar, simply because the whole idea of it is that it's getting you into the way of how we cue, how we do things. So sensible to, as much as you can, to do that with somebody that's Polestar. So that's your observation hours. Now we move on to the exercise self-mastery. So this is when you are practicing the exercises that you've learnt in your course. Now, and this is you practice them either on your own or with your fellow students, and we really recommend, it's a good idea actually doing a lot of your practice with your fellow students. You learn a lot together. You can also attend a class and put that down as a self-practice hour. Now, it doesn't matter what class you do, so you could be a maths student and you could come and do a reformer class, and that's absolutely fine, because actually, even though it's on the equipment, working on the reformer will actually help your mat. So attending classes can be put down in your logbook as a self-practice hour. Now, observation and self-mastery, and as we're getting on to now, apprentice teaching, all of these hours, you sign them yourself. So the logbook is a self-directed process. Okay. So moving on to the apprentice teaching hours. So this is when you are teaching somebody the exercises that you've learned. Now, this can be with your family and friends. It could also be with your fellow students. We also offer opportunities here at Moss where you can bring a student and practice working with them on the equipment if you're a comprehensive student, and we charge a special rate of £12 an hour to students for this, and we suggest that you pass the cost of that onto your client. Remember, when you get into teaching, you will probably need insurance unless you're just teaching family. And we do recommend on our FAQ page, there are insurance companies that will insure you as a student to teach the exercises that you've learnt on the course. Now, so much of this is self-directed. So what the important thing is making sure that you're on the right track with all of this. And what we recommend that you do is that you have a one-to-one with a member of the education team at least once a month. And this is going to ensure that you are practicing and spending those hours practicing and teaching, and that you're really on the right track with that. You may share a session with a fellow student and share the cost between you to help with that. Now we're moving on to the exercise self-mastery, what we call the check-ins. So it's where we have the list of all of the different exercises, and you'll see there that there's 3 columns for each exercise. We have a column for demonstration skills, teaching, and then the final column where it says Polestar educator or mentor sign off. Now, what we'd like you to do is for you to actually, you are responsible for signing the demonstration and teaching columns yourself. And so when the time for you to sign that is when you feel that you've really mastered that exercise, okay? So you sign that demonstration and the teaching. What should happen is that when you have your one-to-one with your educator once a month, that becomes an organic process to help you get through all of this. So you're bringing up with them, you know, if there's an exercise that you're doing and that you're finding that you're having problems with or you're not sure about, you're asking questions, you're exploring that together and going through that. And you'll take your logbook with you to these sessions, and feel free to scribble on it all over the place. You know, people say sometimes, well, you know, I don't want to scribble on it because I don't want to make a mess of my logbook. Well, that's what we want to see, is comments. So, you know, if you're having a session with an educator, or indeed if you're coming and doing one of our repertoire review sessions that we offer, or somebody's made a comment to you in a class about an exercise that you were doing, make a note of that by the actual individual exercise if there's something you need to work on. And that's going to be really helpful. And as you're having your one-to-one sessions, the educator or mentor will be asking to have a look through that logbook, and they may make some comments on it as well as you're having your sessions. And that final column that gets signed, they're not going to sign each individual exercise. No, how they're going to do that is they will sign that off as the process goes on. So as you're going through your journey and you're having your sessions, that will just get signed off. And it may be that final column gets signed off towards the end of the your sessions when you're ready to sit your exam. But the important thing is that whoever you're seeing for those sessions, make sure that they actually, even they can sign it just as the page, have signed that final column for you. And then the final column, you'll see there's one last page, the back page of your logbook. And again, that's the page that you need to get signed off by the educator that you've been seeing. And that needs to be completed before you come and sit your exam. And we will need to see on the day of your exam a completed logbook with everything completed and everything signed off. If your logbook is not completed on the day of your exam, then you won't be given your results until it is. So it's really important that you do that. So I hope that has answered all of your questions, and thank you for taking the time to listen to this.